I got this crazy idea. I'm like, what if we were able to do $10,000 in new business in 30 days? And I remember like just writing it down and I was like, oh shit, that's a big goal. Like I thought it was so big and so cool and so pumped. But keep in mind, at the time, this was a huge deal. Right now I look at that and I'm like, that's chump change, because I've done it. I'm gonna share. I've done almost that in a week, a year later. And many of you guys are like, dude, that's impossible. You couldn't do 10K. I promise you, you can. You've never done a deal with this process, and that's why you don't know. So I got that crazy idea. I'm like, yo, I think we could do it. And I went to the team and I'm like, guys, I think we could pull this off. And it was like this big, huge goal. And that's what I want to share today, is what we did. Because guys, we pulled it off. It wasn't like on a Sunday, but it was the last weekday of the month. We closed the final deal to hit the 10K. So I want to share what we did to hit the 10K. And then I'm going to share what I would do if I was going to hit 10K today. Like if I was starting today and you're like,
Nick, I need 10K in the pipe.
Here's what we did. The first thing that we did is we went ahead and we got really, really focused on a couple of niches. I realized like if I want to get at least $1,000 a month, I'm probably going to need to go into some bigger niches. So I remember we picked 2 to 3 niches and we were like, we're just going to focus on these. But the 2 that we picked was tree service and concrete. Write that down. If you've never heard of those niches, it's because you're brand new to this. Everyone's in them. They're boring. They're the mundane. They're regular. I make a lot of money in those 2 niches, but I just go into really weird cities. So we picked a couple of niches. Then the next thing we did, so we like, okay, we're going to do tree service and concrete. And we went and we picked 20 cities and we started doing the due diligence, because I wanted to have a list of 5 to 10 cities that fit the criteria that we could just kick on and we could start running ads to these one-page websites. Okay, so we went in, picked the 2 niches, concrete and tree service. We did the due diligence and we started cranking those out so we'd have the list. Then what I did is I went and I said, okay, let's look at the properties and the projects I already have. And I said, what are the sites that are producing consistent leads? And then the next thing we did is I looked at all of my sites that were producing inconsistently. That's the ones that are producing 3 to 5 leads, maybe 5 to 10 that, just trickling in every couple days. Okay, so we had these 3 lists. We had the lists of sites that fit the criteria, the due diligence ones. We had the sites that were producing leads consistently. And then we had the sporadic ones. And that was what we were going to focus on. And then what we did is we built out the one-pagers. I went in and we set up all the one-pagers. So we just had a list of all those due diligence that made the cut. I don't know what it was, 5 to 10. We just went and cranked out the one-pagers so that we didn't have to wait. So we had 5 or 6 just sitting there ready to go, because I was very, very, very determined that we were going to hit that goal, and I wanted to have everything in the queue. And then the last thing that we did is we set a minimum. We said, look, we are going to do at minimum $1,000 per month per site. That was kind of our target. And I will tell you this, we did not hold to that as much as I wish we would have. We could have hit that earlier. So we said 1,000, but I know, and I remember in my head, we did a couple deals for less because I was just like, I want to get the deal. I want to get the deal. Now I wouldn't do that. And the next year I didn't do that, but I remember 1,000 was like the goal, but we did have a couple that we actually didn't hit it. We weren't super disciplined. And then this is what we did. We started going after the ones that were producing consistently. We started making our calls. We started setting the hooks. At the same time, we put ads on other sites. So we had a couple that were sporadic, a couple that were one-pagers. And this is what I would recommend. If you guys are like, hey, I want to do 10K, whatever. Some of you guys make the mistake of you get so excited and all this stuff. You've never closed a deal and you go set up 5, 6, 10, 18 campaigns. It's like, yo, you got to close 1 deal before you go manage 18. Guys, if you haven't done your first flat fee deal, you need to get that one. Just run 1, just run 2. The cool part was, because we had those consistent sites, the leads that were coming in, they weren't costing us any money. So in my head, I was like, that's fine, because even if we, have to go through a couple more leads or it takes a little while, that's not costing me money. And then I focused on the ads. And literally what we did is, it was very, very simple, is we would call the business owner, we'd do the basic pitch, gonna give a couple leads, and let's have a conversation, blah, blah, blah. We didn't have like a definite amount of leads we were gonna send, but we were just imperfectly doing stuff, and we just started sending leads. I remember the very first deal that we got, I believe it was a tree service site here in St. George. I met a guy at a coffee shop. We'd sent him a couple leads. We had a conversation and he's like, okay, I like the idea. Did everything wrong, but the leads did the selling. He called me later that day. He's like, hey, my wife has some questions. Talk to her. I jumped on the phone with her. They're like, cool, we're in. Meet us at the gas station. I think I signed the contract over the hood of their car at a local gas station. And that was the first deal. And I was like, boom, Boom, got the first one. 9 more to go. And guys, you know what we did? Rinse and repeat. Got the deal, signed the contract, pushed the leads over. And no shit, the last Friday, I got on and I did my Zoom call and I closed the deal and I'm like, okay, we did it.